Okay, here we are, basic 101s of sharpening skates. It's always important to address your stone first and to know the person's hollow beforehand so you can address it so it matches the hollow and you are making it clear and cut in between so you have two separate edges. Unlike speed skating, we don't have one sharp point of an edge. We actually have two on each side, which we call an inside and outside, and you make a hollow in between. So when you're sharpening, that's exactly what you're doing. There are different grades of your hollow. Okay, you can start at an average person's is what we call a ½ inch or a 0.5 hollow, and then you can go plus or minus from there, however deep the person wants their edges to be. And what you would do is once you know their hollow, I mean, I'm sure there are very many machines. This is what I do. You set the actual size. You can see as they get smaller, it gets deeper and deeper of how deep the person wants it to be. Once you find it out, you make the adjustments to your diamond, to the stone, and address like so. I have it now set to a 7/16, a little bit sharper than a ½ inch. As you can see right here, running along the arm for my stone, my diamond, I have all the little measurements of the hollow and where I need to set the diamond like so, flush for like a 0.75, an average, which is a 0.5 right there, and you can go little bits by little bits back and forth to make your exact hollow that you needed for your whoever's individual you're sharpening. It's always important when you're adjusting the stone for the first time that you're making sure that you're hitting it at the right levels and not too high, too low. And you can do it visually, just normally. I like to use a Sharpie actually on the blade, and it helps me see approximately where I'm hitting the stone, which I'll show you in a second. So always important to load it in so the blade is running even. You don't want it sideways like so or front and left. You want it running as even as possible. So you're hitting everything evenly and not ruining the rocker. Tying it in. So what we do, it's gonna be a little loud, so I'll try to talk a little loud. You come in and just kind of tap, and you can see by the mark that I made that it's roughly hitting the very center of the blade. I'll do a tap over here and you can just see the difference. You still can see it. It's not as bad. I just like using the marker just so you can, it's more pronounced, it's easier to see. And you have to make sure it's both sides so it's not uneven and uneven this way. And then you just start running your blade. Adjust a little bit up. Actually, I can show you. I did it on purpose. See this one mark here? That's what happens when the stone is not hitting the blade right, and that makes me have to adjust up or down to make it the one that's not centered, the one that's hitting real low. These two are almost centered, but this one's really off, so I always keep adjusting the level of the blade up and down so it's hitting it flush, even, and hitting both sides at the same time. So I'm gonna have to redo what I did wrong. So you wanna make sure you come in as close to the toe pick as possible, obviously without hitting the toe pick. You never wanna shave off the bottom toe pick, but you wanna get it as close as you can so he rides that edge all the way to the toe pick. Also, it's very important not to like push against the stone. You just wanna do it enough so it just touches and runs along it smoothly. Nice even, don't clip the end. We're not doing hockey skates. See you in a second. You can actually tell, I can watch the sparks on the stone and whether they're hitting the blade flush enough that if I have to run it a few more times to make sure if it's only hitting like the bottom, because it has to hit flush the entire way across. So you're hitting the edge all the way on both sides, all the way across. Sometimes you can see by the sparks if it's hitting up, down. Do it a few more times to get it going. You don't want to overdo it because you want to obviously give the blade as much longevity as you can, but you need to always hit all sides. as you can see, it's starting to hit, like right about this section, it's hitting all of it, but as you can see here, there's still some black marker left, so I'm not hitting all of it here. And even up at the toe pick here, you can see that's not quite hitting the top enough yet. So I've got to make some adjustments and come up and down with the levels a little bit, but away we go. It's good to do a few strokes and check to make sure that you are getting all sides, all edges, and give it a good little going over. I like to run my nail across it to make sure where I'm hitting the edge and where I'm not. Eventually your nail wears down, but they'll grow back. And most importantly of all, you have to check that they're even, that they're level. Always important to make sure that your edges are level, not angled whatsoever. Make sure you're coming down it and you are square. See, I think right now my bottom edge is sitting a little bit higher, so I'm going to make an adjustment on the wheel to how it hits. The back seems good. Again, I'm just using a little 90-degree level. There are so advanced little machines that you put on that'll give it to the nanometer of how much it's off. Shave off any little bits of grit. You can feel it running against the edge, both sides. And voila.